All right, what is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with another NBA live stream, another episode of Fast Break Bets, hosted by hosted by me on behalf of Betting Pros, I should say. Real quick, if you missed Wednesday's show, I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap of what you can expect here. This is something; these live streams is what I will be doing every Wednesday and Friday at this exact time, 5 p.m. Eastern, at least until the end of this calendar year. If things go well, maybe we can do this more. But for the time being, you can count on me on every Wednesday, every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. What I'm going to be doing is giving out at least one pick on every single NBA game of the slate. So it really kind of depends what the slate looks like. On Wednesday, when I did this, we had 13 games. So I just had one pick for each. For today, it's a little bit more of a reasonable number of games. We have 7 total. So what I'm going to do is there are a couple games where I'm going to have multiple picks. So I got 11 total for you guys today. I do want to say, make sure if you're not already to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, turn on notifications, also share with your friends. Let's try to get in front of as many people as possible. And then if you want to find me specifically, again, my name is Matt Modi, and on social media, you can find me at my handle Jedi Modi pretty much anywhere. I do want to do a quick recap of yesterday, have some transparency here. It was a good day, so I don't have anything to hide from. I will say I gave out a ton of plus money bangers. I think I had like 5. We unfortunately didn't get any of those to cash. By plus money bangers, I mean like plus 200 and above. But we still did end the day in the green, 7 and 6 overall on our 13 picks, slight profit of 1.05 units. Not necessarily enough to be rich, but we'll take any day we can get in the green. Last thing, before we get going with these picks, I do want to shout out the Betting Pros app. I used the app to help me find all of my picks today. You can find the link to it in the description of this video. It's bettingpros.com/apps. Pretty easy to find. They have a prop bet cheat sheet, which is incredible. It gives you the expected value, the positive EV for a bunch of different player props, as well as their own projection. So like, let's pretend Steph Curry's over-under is at 28.5. Betting Pros projects him for 31. They will list that in the app, which is amazing. You can also follow me on the app at my link in the description as well, bettingpros.com/Modi. All my picks that I have are going to be entered in the app, so you can tail me there. You can also do a free trial of the premium offering, which we will get into in a little bit, and sync all your bets through the different sports books. So you don't need to track everything manually. You can just have it all synced. With that out of the way, let's get into these picks. So as I mentioned, I'm going to have 11 for you guys. It's going to be a mixture of player props, of main lines, plus money bangers, all that stuff. I'm just going in order of the games in which when they're played. So I'm not giving anybody favoritism by going first. For the first game, Cavs versus Pacers. The pick I have here, I'm taking the Cavs. So I got them at -2.5. Right now, they're best offered at -3. I would still take them at -3. You can get them at -110 odds at FanDuel at the -3 number. The Cavs starting lineup has yet to play 1 minute together. That obviously includes the major 4, the core 4, if you will, of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, and Evan Mobley. Allen has yet to play at all this year. And then Garland missed last game with a hammy. I think Allen's got an ankle. Garland's got a hammy. As of right now, they're both listed as questionable. At least both of them did participate in the shoot around. So that is a little bit of a plus and good news in terms of them suiting up. With those 4 on the floor, the Cavs are one of the best teams in the NBA all year, especially defensively. They had the best defensive net rating in the NBA. This is obviously going back to last year. They had the best defensive rating in the entire NBA, better than the Celtics. And with that 4 on the floor together, they were 12th in terms of net rating on offense. So pretty good, really good on defense, above average on offense. And then looking at this matchup this year, the Pacers are currently have the worst defense in the NBA, worst defense in the NBA, according to net rating. Overall, they have the 22nd ranked net rating in the NBA. Now, admittedly, the Cavs, in terms of advanced stats, aren't that great this year either. A lot of that has because they struggled on offense. Now, they played the Knicks twice, who have been really good on defense. Also, if you're missing 2 of your starters, it's going to be tough to have that good of offensive efficiency. So in this one, I'm not expecting them to have that much of an issue against the Pacers in terms of scoring. And I do think that they're going to be able to hold up pretty well defensively. So I like the Cavs in this one. It's one of our mainline picks. Again, Cavs -2.5, -115 at BetMGM is what I got. You can currently get them at -3 at FanDuel. And I will say, I meant to mention this at the beginning. If you have any questions, anything you want to shout out, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll make sure to keep up with that as much as I can. Right now, I see Daniel Caps Keenan. Looks like he hit a +138 last night, thanks to Betting Pros. That's awesome. Love to see that. All right, so one pick down. Next up in the Knicks versus Bucks game. This is one of our splash zone plays. I'm going to have 3. If you're unfamiliar, splash zone is where I look for 3-point props that I like. Instead of taking them at their main line, I just juice the numbers up a little bit in hopes of getting pretty juicy odds, lowering the win percentage, making that a higher payout. For this one specifically, we're going with Julius Randle, 4+ made 3-pointers. I got this at +460 odds at FanDuel. The Bucks defense, despite having been really good basically every year for the past 5, they're awful on defense this year. And sneakily, they just had a bad start in general. Overall, looking at net rating, they have the second worst defense in the entire NBA. The only team that's worse, the team I just talked about, the Cavs. The Bucks are 2-2. They just haven't looked right. Even on offense, they have a weird that they're not doing pick and rolls with Giannis. Regardless, only thing we're looking at is their defense, which has not been good. So I like the Knicks in this one for their offense to play well. I also like Randle in general, which we'll get into a little bit. But last game, the Bucks played the Raptors, who have not been a good offense all year. I mean, I say all year. It's we're a week deep, but still, it's the only sample size we have. That Raptors team just hung 130 on the Bucks. In that game, they allowed Siakam to hit 5 3-pointers, Scotty Barnes to hit 4 3-pointers, none of which of those 2 players are known for being good 3-point shooters. And overall, 4/5 of the Raptors starting lineup went over their 3-point prop. Now, obviously, in general, 3-point percentage evens out over time. But when the Bucks defense is playing as bad as it is, they're just generating high-level looks for the opposing team, or they're allowing the opposing team to generate, I should say. So I knew I wanted to target someone on the Knicks. I ended up going with Randle mostly as a fade to what he's been doing recently. He's only made 24.2% of his 3-pointers this year. He's made 2 of his last 16. That's really good, or really bad. I mean, against the Bucks, Tibbs is going to play the Knicks heavy minute, or the Knicks in general, and then also Randle heavy minutes. Julius Randle's probably going to get up 8+, 10+ 3-pointers. So if his shooting can just normalize, he'll probably get to 4 for us for +460 odds. It's super juicy, which is why I like it. That is our second play of the evening. Next up in the Nets versus Bulls game, got another player prop. In this case, we're taking Nikola Vucevic, Vooch, under 12.5 rebounds. This is at +100 odds at BetMGM. This was a positive EV play that I got directly from Betting Pros. They project him to go under 12.5 rebounds, which is just a lot. It's a lot of rebounds. And that's not the end of my analysis. I know that obviously the reason why the number is so high is because he's been raking up the rebounds at an absurd rate. Looking at his last 2 games, 17 rebounds 2 games ago, 20 rebounds last game, which is why it's so high in general. But that's an insane amount of rebounds. And everybody is going to see that. The square bettors, which I know is not you guys watching this, but in general, people are going to be like, wait, his over-under is 12.5 and he just had 17 and 20. They're going to hammer the over because it's 8 fewer or 5 fewer than what he's been doing. But those of you who know me and those of you who know in general, those stats always even out over time. Just because he's had 17 and 20 doesn't mean he's going to continue to get that amount of rebounds. And those of you that know me know that I love, in general, to fade recent trends to kind of take advantage of people trying to say, oh, this one's obvious. And looking at the matchup, the Bulls play at the second slowest pace in the NBA. The Nets do play a little bit faster, but they're still not among the fastest. So they're not one of those teams that just turns every game into a track meet. So for this game specifically, I'm expecting fewer possessions, fewer potential chances for a rebound, all that stuff. He just needs to get under 12.5, and we're cashing for +100. I like it. Now, I would like to do a little bit of an ad break, and I want to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway to Betting Pros. So what you want to do if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, which I will say the premium subscription is what I have. It's amazing. I mentioned it at the beginning. It's what I use to find all my plays for today. It's a place where you can start betting smarter as opposed to harder. Everybody knows in the work world, in the betting world, just in life, it's about working smart, not working hard. Let betting pros do that for your betting needs. All you need to do to be entered for this 1-year premium subscription giveaway, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Do that right now if you're not already. And then all you got to do other than subscribe is just to comment below on the video. You can comment whatever you want. You can roast me. You can say nice things, whatever you want to do. All you need to do is comment and subscribe, and you will be entered. What we're going to do is announce a winner right here on this YouTube channel. So turn on the notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes drop. It's not just NBA season. It's NFL, it's college football, it's NHL, tons of stuff going on. So you make sure that you want to be subscribed and have notifications on so you're alerted when new episodes drop, and then you can claim your prize. So with that out of the way, next game that I want to talk about is the Wizards versus Heat. I'm actually going to have 2 picks in this one. The first one is a pick on the main line. It's we're taking the over 223.5. I got it at -110 odds at DraftKings. That price was amazing, and I did find it thanks to Betting Pros. Right now, it's best offered at at 220. Looks like it's 225. It's best offered pretty much across the board. I would still take it at that number. As I mentioned, this is another positive EV play that I got from the Betting Pros app. You can line shop. So I was just literally scrolling through the main lines of each game and immediately was like, well, DraftKings is just simply too low on this. I locked it in at 223.5 when every other book had it at 224.5 or 225. So that's just the type of value you can find from the app. In terms of the matchup, I have a ton of notes about the Wizards defense that I'm going to get into in a little bit because I do have a player prop for this game, so I don't want to totally give everything away. All you really need to know about the Wizards is that they're not good. Their defense is even worse than not good. They have the 3rd worst defensive net rating in the NBA while also playing at the fastest pace. That is a recipe for a ton of points. The Heat are middle of the pack in terms of pace, so they're not one of those teams that mucks everything up. So the guess here is that they're probably going to run with the Wizards. And just look at the point totals that the Wizards have given up this year. 143, 126, 130. And for this over, what I like is they've also been putting up respectable scoring numbers. They've scored at least 107 points in every game so far. So they're putting up points too, thanks to the pace. The total, in my opinion, is just too low. So I like for this game to go over. Next up, we're looking at the same game, Wizards versus Heat. It's my second of 3 splash zone plays. Tyler Herro, 5+ made 3-pointers, plus 280 odds at FanDuel. So it's been a slow start for the Heat in general. I mean, they're 1-4 after just making the finals. 1-4 isn't great. But one player that has not been slow has been Tyler Herro, who's been awesome. Overall, in the 5 games the Heat have played, he's hit at least 5 3-pointers twice. In another game, he had exactly 4. And then in the 5 games, he shot double-digit 3-point attempts in 3 of 5 games, which I like. Last game against the Nets, he had a great shooting game, 6 of 10 from deep. So this is not a situation, unlike Julius Randle, we're not buying the dip. Instead, we're banking on him to stay hot. I think there are a ton of reasons to expect him to do so. I love for Herro to have a blow-up game in this one. I mentioned that the Heat are 1-4. They're in desperate need of a win. Luckily, the present for desperately needing a win is the Washington Wizards, and especially the Washington Wizards defense. I mentioned their defensive net rating, 3rd worst. I mentioned that they play at the fastest pace. What that means is they give up a ton of 3-point attempts. They allow 43.8 3-point attempts per game. That's the most in the NBA, and that's 2.8 attempts higher than the second highest team, which is a massive difference between the worst and the second worst. So ton of 3-point attempts. Tyler Herro does seem to be motivated after being in trade talks literally the entire offseason. Everybody just expecting him to be traded. He's looked great. He's also been consistently playing 35 minutes, which I like. Now, if this game turns into a blowout, the minutes aren't going to be there. Blowout potential is always there with the Wizards, but I think as long as they can keep it somewhat close and Herro has to play into the 4th quarter, he's going to get up 12+ 3-point attempts. It's probably going to be open for a lot of them. 5 is a lot, admittedly, but we're getting 280 plus 280 odds on it. So I think that makes sense. That is what our 5th play, our 2nd play of the Wizards Heat. Next up, we got the Warriors versus Thunder game. We're taking Steph Curry, 30 plus points, plus 100 odds at FanDuel. Now, for this game specifically, SGA being out is a bummer because it did have the makings of a really fun game. I think it could still be pretty fun. What we all know about Steph, he lives for these moments. And what moment am I talking about? The NBA in-season tournament starts today. I'm sure the NBA players are going to care a ton about this game. Everybody knows how electric the in-season tournament is going to be. I'm only being somewhat sarcastic. The real reason why I like this game, I like Steph in this game. The Warriors have been awesome, and Steph has been awesome as well. But it's kind of funny. He's been awesome every other game. Game 1, 27 points. Then he had 41. Then he went down to 24, up to 42, back down to 21. And really, when you look at those splits in terms of points, it really can just be traced to how well he's shooting. Every game he shoots above 50%, he scored 40. Every game he's been below 50%, he has scored less than 30. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you should bet on Steph because he plays well in every other game. I'm more just commenting at just how kind of funny that is. I will say this game is in Oklahoma City. It's a home game for the Thunder. Generally, Steph plays better on the road, not necessarily than he does at home, but compared to his teammates, Klay shoots significantly better at home. Andrew Wiggins shoots significantly better at home. So Steph needs to pick up the slack a little bit offensively on the road. Overall, if you just look at advanced stats, the Thunder defense has been good, but they've specifically struggled against guards who can score. Now, no one's like Steph, but Spida, Donovan Mitchell hung 43 on them. CJ McCollum hung 29 on them. I think this would be a good opportunity to ladder his point total. If you want to take 30, 35, 40 plus, I wouldn't hate it. I specifically am not. I'm not going to ladder it. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Obviously, we're just going to be tracking whether he hits 30 or not, but I do think the ladder potential is there. So that is our sixth pick of the evening. We have 5 picks remaining. Perfect time for our second ad break. And what I want to do for this one, I want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. So if you are watching this video and you are looking to up your sports betting game, look no further than the Betting Pros Discord. It's an exclusive sports betting community. You can find it at bettingpros.com/chat. Pretty easy to find it there. It's also in the description of the video. What Betting Pros has done for their Discord is gathered a team of expert handicappers. But the important part I want to make here is it's completely free picks. None of this tout service BS. It's a free Discord to join. You're getting picks for NFL, NBA, NHL, player props, live betting, futures, all that stuff is included in the Discord. And not only do you get to just tail people's picks, I'm also in the Discord. Should have mentioned that. I'm in the Discord as well. But not only do you get to tail people's picks in the Discord, but you also just get to kind of pick the brain of these people who are profitable sports bettors. You can connect with like-minded betting enthusiasts like yourself, and you can get strategies from the pros, from the expert handicappers. So I highly recommend you join us in the Discord. Join us today. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. Start making money. All right. Next game we have here is the Mavericks versus the Nuggets. I'm going to have 2 picks in this one. This game's going to be awesome. First of all, that's not a pick. It's just a prediction. I think this game's going to be awesome. I have 2 player props. The first of which is my third and final splash zone play of the day. We're taking KCP, Kentavious, Caldwell-Pope, 3+ made 3-pointers, plus 260 odds at FanDuel. Now, I knew that I wanted to target somebody on the Nuggets on this one. The Nuggets are coming off of their first loss of the year. They're blown out by the Timberwolves. Well, the Mavericks are undefeated. They're 4-0, which I'm not sure how many people know that. Luka's been amazing. They're 4-0. The reason why I knew I wanted to target somebody on the Nuggets is because the Mavericks give up a lot of 3-pointers. Now, they're not the Wizards. Of course, nobody's the Wizards, but they do give up 37 3-point attempts per game, which is tied for 21st in the NBA in that stat. Now, KCP specifically hasn't shot a ton this year, and he has yet to make 3 in a game. So I do understand that there is a little bit of risk. Of course, when you're getting something at plus 260, if somebody's telling you there's no risk involved, they're a liar. I will say he's made 2 3-pointers in 3 of 5 games. So he's right around the number. He just hasn't gotten over the hump. I like him in this one. because his role he's a great defender, so he plays a lot of minutes, but his role on offense is just to catch and shoot. He's not someone that you design an offense around, but he's also not someone that is going to do anything other than catch and shoot on offense. So you know that the games are going to come. He's played in a ton of important games in his career. He was very big for the Nuggets in the playoffs last year. So you know there's going to be a time where he's going to put up 7, 8, 9 3-point attempts. Last game, he only shot 1 in that blowout loss to the Wolves. But in this game, thanks to the importance of the game and the matchup, I'm expecting him to shoot a lot more. Let's hope he gets to 3. If he does, we're cashing plus 260 odds. And then our next one, same game, Mavs versus Nuggets. We're taking Jokic over 8.5 assists. I got this at plus 100 odds at Fliff. I don't know what Fliff was doing with the odds. Every other book had this as the favored outcome. We got it for plus 100. I mentioned that last game, Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves. By far their worst game of the year. That also was the case for Jokic. He only had 3 assists, which is crazy low for someone like Jokic. It was also a blowout most of the game. So he only played 30 minutes as opposed to his normal minutes load where he plays like 35. I mentioned this is somewhat of a big game between the Nuggets and the Mavericks. It's also an in-season tournament game. Again, I don't really know if teams are going to care or not about it, but I do know that the Mavs are undefeated and the Nuggets just got blown out. So they're going to be motivated for this one. I do like finding situations like this where the NBA regular season can be a little bit of a chore in terms of Jimmy Butler already got rested in a game. Brad Beal hasn't been playing at all. So I like finding situations like this where you expect the atmosphere to be a little bit better than a normal regular season game. Jokic is a gamer. He's an amazing player. 8.5 assists is not a lot for someone like Jokic. And look, if 3 of those assists come on made 3-pointers to KCP, that would be great. But regardless, I do expect the Nuggets to come out with a little more intensity. Jokic, not even getting him to have a double-double or 10 assists, I should say, is pretty good. So that is our second and final play for the Mavs versus Nuggets. 3 more picks for you guys, all 3 of which are in the Grizzlies versus Blazers game. I didn't intend to have the most picks in this game. That's just kind of how things fell. I do have 1 play on the main line. We're taking the total to go over 220.5. I got this at minus 110 at FanDuel. Right now, you can get that same play, 220.5 minus 115 at BetMGM. I would still take it at that number. You're still getting a positive EV play. I do also like the Betting Pros app because it tells you where lines opened at, so you can kind of see the line movement. This game opened at 218.5. It was immediately hammered up to 220.5. I still think that the over is the play here. This is another, I mentioned, positive EV play that I got from the Betting Pros app. The Grizzlies have not been good this year. That is not a hot take considering they are 0-5. They give up the second most 3-point attempts per game. So they're the only team, or they're one spot below the Wizards, I mean. But they allow their opponents to shoot 43.4% from deep. Now, obviously, shooting in the NBA generally comes in waves. They just have not looked good at all on defense. They've given up a ton of open 3-pointers. So allowing opponents to shoot 43.4% on the second most attempts per game means that on average, they give up the most 3-pointers made in the NBA, which is not great. They also play at the second fastest pace, and generally pace translates to scoring over anything else. I will admit, on the other side, looking at the Blazers, they've been a little bit better on defense than you expect from a younger team. Granted, they have players like Ayton, like Robert Williams, like Malcolm Brogdon, so they're not super young, but still looking at net rating, 12th ranked defense, but they still have given up pretty decently big point totals. 117 to the Suns, 123 to the Clippers, 126 to the Sixers. The Grizzlies aren't quite those 3 teams, at least they haven't been this year, but I do expect a lot of scoring. I don't think scoring is going to be hard to come by, so I like the over in this one. Now I have 2 more player props for you guys, both of which are 4+ money, which is great. The first of which is DeAndre Ayton to have 12 plus rebounds. This is at plus 120 odds at FanDuel. This is another positive EV play that I found on Betting Pros. They project him to have 12 rebounds. Now, the reason why I went with 12, his main line is at 10.5, but the odds weren't great on taking the over 10.5. So I just pumped up that number by 1 rebound to get plus money odds, the plus 120. So I know that I'm taking the over, and I'm also like the over in the game. And I'm also taking the over rebounds for a player. And that might seem counterintuitive, but because of the pace that this game is most likely going to be played at, along with just the sheer amount of shots attempted, I don't view this as an either or situation in terms of like it's either going to go over or Ayton's going to go over his rebound prop. I think both can happen. Similar to Vooch, who I mentioned recently, Ayton has also been a rebounding machine on the year. He's played 5 games, 12, 15, 9, 23, and 11 rebounds in their 5 games so far. So he's hit in 3 games. He's only missed it by, and one of the 2 games he missed it by exactly 1. I know that you could make the same argument for Vooch, why he should go over, but it's 2 different games, 2 different situations. Vooch also is coming off of a 20 rebound game, which is an immediate fade if you ask me. So I like Ayton to have 12 plus rebounds. And then last up, our third and final pick for this game, our 11th and final pick for the evening, Shaedon Sharpe over 22.5 points, plus 100 odds at DraftKings. Now, I am laddering this play like myself. I'm taking him 25 plus, 30 plus, and 35 plus. Obviously, if you're going to ride with me on that, remember to scale down your unit size as the point total goes up. Now, for the purposes of this live stream and how we're going to track things, I'm only tracking whether he goes over 22.5 points or not. So the latter is just a bonus, letting you guys know what I am personally doing. So I mentioned I'm expecting a ton of points in this one, thanks to the Grizzlies' bad defense, thanks to the pace of the game. But also, I'm targeting Shaedon Sharpe because of no Scoot Henderson. Now, it's a small sample size for a rookie this is their 6th game. But Shaedon Sharpe's usage rate increases dramatically when he is on the floor, but specifically when he's on the floor without Scoot. So, and I looked this up. I have the stats to back it up. With Scoot not on the floor, Shaedon Sharpe has a usage rate of 32.05%. That's like tops in the NBA. That's like Kevin Durant level usage rate. It's the most on the Blazers with Scoot off the floor. And if you look at his usage rate when they're both on, so this is both Scoot and Sharpe on the floor at the same time, Sharpe has a usage rate of 14.77. That is a dramatic difference, Scoot on versus Scoot off. Now, if you just look overall, like what is his usage rate with everybody on, everybody off, whatever, not filtering for anything, it's 22.84. So it's still up 10 points, his usage rate, just from his overall status with Scoot off the floor. Obviously, Scoot is not playing in this one. If I didn't mention that, I'll mention it now. Scoot is out on this one. So this is a game where I'm expecting a ton of points. It's a game where I'm expecting super fast pace. I'm expecting Shaedon Sharpe to get a ton of shots up. I love laddering him in this one. Again, the official play is over 22.5 plus 100 at DraftKings. I'm laddering him up to 25, 30, and 35. Rounding out our 11th and final pick of the evening. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. All that good stuff helps us out a ton. And just a real quick recap of the ads as well. Betting Pros app, I mentioned I use for every single pick. I mentioned how I use it. I use the player props cheat sheet that gives you positive EV plays along with Betting Pros projection. I used it to line shop, find examples where a sportsbook might be different than the rest of the sportsbooks on the market. You can follow me there and tail all of my picks. You can also use it to download a free trial for the premium subscription, which I mentioned. Also, we're doing a giveaway for 1 year of the premium subscription to Betting Pros, which again is what I use to find all of these picks. So all you need to do if you want to be entered into a possible giveaway for 1 year subscription, comment on the video, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Do that. Make sure to comment or make sure to turn notifications on, to be alerted when a new episode drops. And then lastly, the Betting Pros Discord. If you're looking to up your game, up your sports betting game, join the Discord. You can find expert handicappers in there giving out free picks for all sports going on at all times. You can also pick their brain to learn strategies. You can also just connect with other sports bettors such as yourself. Link to everything is in the description of the video. Again, I appreciate everybody for joining. I'll catch you, I guess, on Wednesday of next week. Let's all make some money tonight and have a good one.